Locker. Look at Farquhar. He's on the right-hand side of the track. Locker to the left. Oh, Farquhar comes back into the near side. And Farquhar gets second. Anthony's going to win it. Farquhar gets second. And I think it was Britain as well.
Welcome back to Philippines Uncut. I'm Buddy Cunanan. Tonight's topic is riding motorcycles with the ATAT Riding Club. And joining us still is Jay Carrion, the spokesperson and former president of ATAT Motorcycle Club. And joining him is Lawrence Macalinao, current secretary of ATAT. Anytime, all the time, Motorcycle Club.
Hi, buddy.
Hi, Lawrence. Jay, welcome back to our second segment. Now, before we start, Lawrence, a little introduction first about yourself.
Okay, actually, like Jay, riding a bike is, for me, is really my passion. It's been only about 2 years since I first rode a bike, but from the first time that I rode the bike, I really got hooked already. And then from there, I was lucky that I met ATAT, and then from there, they really guide me into this. How can I say this? A more responsible rider, and of course, I feel lucky that I met them because somehow I didn't my aggression. I'm a very aggressive guy, and they really helped me nurture my riding skills.
So it's helped you on the bike and off the bike.
Yes.
Because as Jay was talking to us in our first segment, he said that riding really is about controlled aggression, pushing the extreme, but control, not letting, and controlling your emotions.
Correct, yes.
Because as you mentioned earlier, the margin of error when you ride a bike is so small that you really cannot afford to let it go, so to speak, no? There you go. But interesting, Jay, because you told me that you've been riding since you were 7 years old, and here comes Lawrence, and you, before 2 years ago, you had never really ridden a bike before.
Never.
Wow.
I was into cars, but bike was only 2012.
Now, what got you hooked? I mean, what is it about riding a motorcycle? Because I asked Jay earlier, and he said it's about freedom, it's about unrestrained, being unrestrained. What does riding a motorcycle do for you?
Basically, it's the same, but, I was an athlete before I was riding a bike. I was a former track and field player back in college. And, it's all about speed, strength, and these qualities, I found it in a bike. Ever since I was a kid, I was into racing. I always dreamed of being a racer, actually cars. But it's funny that I end up in a big bike, and I found it more interesting and more fun than cars. Now before I drive like crazy. But every time
after coming from this experience riding
after
motorcycles,
coming from this experience,
you've really learned to control yourself, no?
For me, it was boring already riding a car because
I can imagine,
imagine like when you're riding a bike and you're running 250 easy,
How fast do you guys go, Jay? I mean, what is the fastest you've gone on your bike, on your Ducati, no?
Probably
on the track, on the racetrack,
about 285.
Wow. And you, Lawrence?
About the same.
Yeah.
285.
But to give you a better perspective, Manila to Baguio, 3 hours.
Manila to I mean all the way to
John Hay.
up to John Hay, 3 hours.
3 hours.
Wow.
Without T-Plex. Huh?
Much more so with T-Plex. Are you guys allowed in T-Plex?
Yes, we are.
You are.
Yeah.
So it should even make it.
Yeah, probably less than 2.5.
Wow, no, that's amazing. No,
Yeah.
but see, these speeds, 250, 285, close to 300. These are only speeds that we can only dream about. I mean,
Yes,
like people like me, lay people. What is it like at that speed? I mean, isn't it scary?
Whenever I'm following him, I really get scared because at that speed, you see his bike just really wiggle.
Okay, why is that?
Because the bike thinks it doesn't have anybody on top.
No, because he's
so
slightly
light,
built.
right?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so no matter how hard you roll on the throttle, he just disappears.
Now, is that an advantage in racing? Because Lawrence here is slightly built,
Yeah.
and you are wiry,
Yeah.
but you're obviously way more than Lawrence.
Yeah.
Does that make a difference in racing? When do you guys race against each other? I mean,
We actually race against each other. My advantage towards his weight is probably my experience.
okay.
That's the only advantage I have.
And you have the same bikes, no? You have the same bikes.
No, I have the more powerful bike. I made sure of that.
Okay.
We call it secret weapons. Yeah. So basically, it's more of I think my advantage over him is riding experience, riding time. We call it saddle time. But I think that will last for less than a year with this talent right now. Yeah. So that's he's kind of our future, the group's future already.
Amazing.
So we're kind of
amazing.
nurturing it as well.
No, but these speeds I was talking about, 285, almost 300. What is the world like at that speed? I've read somewhere people have told me that at those speeds the world narrows.
Yeah.
I mean the whole perspective changes. What is it like? I mean, it's like traveling back in time almost, no?
Yeah, it's like, how do you say this? Sometimes I really zone out when, that's all I can see. I can just see this straight road and then, how can you say, exhilarating.
Amazing. Jay?
Yeah, for me, I like him. That speed, okay, I think 6 steps ahead. Okay, where's my braking marker? Who's in front of me? What gear I am? So once I pass certain markers, imagine from 285, you go down from 6th gear, you go down all the way to 2nd gear. Just imagine the G-force.
Yes,
Your
yes.
helmet is actually touching your face
Wow.
at
wow.
that speed.
Wow.
And the bike is trying to throw you off. And when you step on the brake, from 285, we go down to about 90 in 90 meters.
Wow.
So, it really wakes you up.
No, but okay. I mean, this sport or this hobby is really for people with nerves of steel. No? You can't be the jittery type. You can't be I mean, you really have to have nerves of steel almost, no? To go at these speeds. Because any little mistake, can really cost you your life, right?
I think apart from nerves of steel, again, I'll always go back to discipline, training.
Yeah.
Again, know your limits.
Yeah.
We go back to controlled aggression.
Now, I understand Lawrence here has, he said he's the future of ATAT.
Yes.
And the future of motorcycle riding in the Philippines. And he has a distinction of being the fastest. He is a record holder, no?
Yeah, for the fastest lap time during a wet race in Manila.
During a wet race. Now, what kind of race? Because we have a video we're going to show now of Lawrence's bike during that race. What is a wet race? I mean, is it literally driving in the rain? Is that what it means?
Not only riding in the pouring rain, but there are portions of the track that are actually flooded.
Wow.
There's actually running water on the track.
So, this video we're seeing now is actually Jay's bike. And Jay, tell us, this is a camera mounted on the rear of your bike, no?
No, it's my bike.
On Lawrence.
Lawrence's bike, yeah. Yeah. And tell us what we're seeing here, Lawrence.
Actually, that's the starting lap of the Pirelli Cup.
Okay, all right.
And it was really a wet race, but I think the biggest thing is having the right tires, the right suspension setting. And for this race, it really helped that I adjusted my what do you call this? I dampened my suspension at the front, and that's really the key. And of course, the tires. Like what Jay was saying about the tires, you really have to spend on the tires because your life depends on the tires.
How fast are you going here?
I think that's about, at the straight I was going about 200. The highest was 260 at the the back straight, at the straight.
And Jay, when you say that Lawrence is a record holder in this wet lap, no? Or I mean this wet race, what does it mean record holder? He did it in the fastest time?
He did it about 207, 208.
Yeah.
And people have a hard time doing that on a dry race.
Wow. Yeah. What is your secret, huh? Lawrence?
I think, practice and of course confidence.
And this is dangerous. No? I mean, this is more dangerous than
I backed off.
a dry race. Really?
Yeah, I backed off.
So you have been riding since 7 years old,
Yeah.
backed off, and you have this relatively newbie,
Yeah.
2 years in the saddle, so to speak, saddle time, and like he has this record of this difficult race.
Yeah, he actually, his lead actually was more than 20 seconds to the next rider. So he really blew the field away during that race. Because during that race, the rain actually did not stop. It was really pouring rain. I couldn't see anything and all that. If I couldn't see anything, I'm sure he couldn't see anything as well. So basically, it was all anticipation, foresight, and all that.
So a lot of that, a lot of, as I said, again, we go back to control.
Yeah.
We go back to anticipation. Almost maybe like developing a sixth sense, almost, no? Like a radar, that kind of thing, no? This instinct, you know?
And a lot of people think riding in the rain is easy. It's actually not, because the way when it's raining during a race, you don't actually steer with the front. He was steering with the rear. His bike was already sliding.
Wow.
That's why he could turn the bike, because he was sliding it. And there are very few people in Manila that can do that.
Now, accidents. Have you gotten into a lot of accidents in your 2 years, Lawrence?
Yes.
Should we be concerned?
But it taught me a lot, those accidents, and they were telling me that it's part of it, and these experiences will teach you to be a better rider, and it really helped me a lot, and of course, like Jay was saying, saddle time is really important. That's why that was a priority. I really gave time being one with the bike. I remember one of the members of our team telling me that you really have to be one with the bike. It's not how good you are, but you really have to feel the bike.
Interesting.
Yes, it's parang you have to be, how do you say this pa?
It really is like a synergy.
Connection,
a connection between man and machine, no?
Yeah,
Diba?
and funny, because if I remember correctly, when he applied to join us, the first thing I told him, or everybody told him to get, was a leather suit. Because he was just wearing an ordinary textile jacket and jeans. I said, no, you are not going to ride with us like that. You have to be well protected and at the same time look good.
That's been my advantage, being the youngest and at the same time the newest member. Everyone was that's what I like about our group, no. We're not selfish about sharing our knowledge with each other, when we're in the track, we always go out together, and then we observe ourselves. Oh, you can go faster through here. You could. I think that's been our advantage, and that's, if you see the results, the whole season, it's been dominated by ATAT. In art ATAT racing team.
And what I like about you guys, you have this advocacy for promoting motorcycle safety. Actually, we're going to talk about that, guys. We have to pause for a break, but we're going to talk about that in the last and final segment when Philippines Uncut returns.